Hi friends, very good evening. Welcome to Arduino Ecos. A warm welcome to all of you. This is Madhu signing in for the basic syntaxes of Arduino. Okay, so here in this presentation, I will be talking about some predefined functions in Arduino like setup, loop, and pin mode. Before talking about these functions, let me talk about a simple C program. Every C program will start with a comment section, followed by header file section, followed by global declaration section, followed by main section, followed by local declaration section, and you will be having some logical blocks followed by functions, and that is how C program is framed. Okay, so when you go for Arduino program is totally divided into three. One is global declaration section, followed by setup function, followed by loop function. If there are any user defined functions, then you need to define them outside loop. In every C program will be having a main function, but you don't find any main function in Arduino program. The main section in Arduino program is totally divided into two. One is setup, second one is loop. If you take a C program, the main function will be called first. In the same way, when you go for Arduino, okay, setup is a function which is called first. After calling setup, okay, after execution of setup, then loop will be called. Okay, so let's see what is setup and what is loop. So void setup, what is the syntax here? It is very clear. It is void setup. It means that no return variable and no argument. So here you will be having some set of statements inside void setup. It clearly means that you have to write some logical block inside setup. Okay, and this setup function is called first when you execute the program. Which program it is? It is Arduino program. So that is why here I have written as first and one time execution, right? Setup will execute first. Setup will be called first when you apply power to Arduino, when you execute your Arduino program, and it is a one time executable. Okay, and the setup function is very used to configure the Arduino board. Okay, and when you see the next function, which is nothing but loop. Okay, after execution of setup, then the compiler will be calling loop. If loop is executing, then it pushes this microcontroller into an infinite loop. It means that loop is an infinite loop. A loop function will be iterated for infinite number of times until the power supply goes off. So what is the syntax here? It is very clear: void loop, phrase open close. It means that no argument, no return variable. Okay, you have to write some logic inside loop. This logic will be iterated for infinite number of time, and that is why I have written as an infinite loop. Clear? So Arduino program will be having a setup function and a loop function. Setup function will be called first when you apply power to Arduino. After execution of setup, loop will be iterated for infinite number of times. Okay, the configuration of Arduino will be done in setup since it is called first. Okay, and your logical block will be written inside loop, and your logic should iterate for infinite number of time because it is an embedded system. When you go for a normal system, when you go for a simple C program, your C program will be called for only one time. But when you go for an embedded system, your program should iterate for infinite number of times because it is an embedded system is nothing but integration of both hardware and software. Until the power supply goes off, your program should be iterated. Okay, and the next one is pin mode. In the previous discussions, I have discussed about the layout of Arduino board. How many number of pins you will be having for Arduino? You know, it is the digital pins are 14, which they are named as 0 to 13, and analog pins are named as A0 to A5. So how many number of digital here? It is 14. How many number of analog here? It is 6. A0 to A5, 0 to 5 is nothing but 6. Digital pins, how many pins you will be having? 14. They are named as 0 to 13. Okay, yes. Coming to pin mode, the entire Arduino program is based on embedded C++. When you go for C++, when you mix two words, then the starting letter of the first word should be small and the starting letter of the second word should be uppercase, right? So here P is small and M is capital. P is lowercase and M is uppercase letter. Okay, anyway, the function is pinMode. Why pinMode is used? See, when you are interfacing some external peripheral to the IO lines of Arduino. Clear? When you are interfacing some external peripheral with the IO lines of Arduino, it means that you can interface any peripheral either at digital or either at analog. Okay, how many number of possibilities you will be having here? One is digital and second one is analog. Okay, you need to intimate Arduino that stating that you have connected your peripheral here. That is nothing but configuration of Arduino. Okay, so when you see the syntax of pinMode, you will be having two arguments and no return variable. So here it is very clear, pinMode of pin comma status, pinMode of pin comma status. So argument is nothing but which is written inside phrase, right? Pin comma status. So to which pin you have connected your peripheral. Clear? To which pin you have connected your peripheral and what is the status of the peripheral. The peripheral status can be either input or output. It means that you can connect either input peripheral to the pin or you can connect either output peripheral to the pin. So if you connect some digital peripheral at pin number 3, then you need to say pinMode of 3 comma status. What is the status here? It can be input or output. This pinMode function should be written inside setup, because setup is called first, not loop. Okay, you should write this logic, you should call this function only inside setup. Okay, clear? So let's see some evaluations of pinMode. So here it is very clear, analog peripheral connected at pin number A2. It means that analog peripheral should connect at analog line and digital peripheral should be connected digital line. Okay, here since it is analog peripheral, I have connected pin number A2 and it is on output peripheral. Then what I need to pass here? pinMode of A2. To which pin it is connected? It is connected to A2, and what is the status here? It is very clear, it is output. So you need to write OU to PUT output. So second, digital peripheral connected pin number 3. So it is very clear, digital peripheral is connected pin number 3. How many number of digital lines you will be having for Arduino? You know, they are 14. Okay, so here it is connected to pin number 3. And what is the status here? It is output. So what you need to pass here? pinMode of 3 comma output. Clear? So when you take this, analog peripheral connected pin number A1 and it is input. Analog peripheral should be always connected to analog IO lines. To which pin it is connected? It is connected to pin number A1. So here you need to pass A1 comma, since it is input you need to write input. Digital peripheral connected to pin number 0 and it is input. So what you need to write here? 0 comma input. pinMode should be written inside setup because it is a configuration bit. Clear? Very clear, right? If you have any queries, just drop me a mail. Okay, and this is all about setup, loop and pinMode. Clear? So setup will be called first, loop will be iterated for infinite number of times after the setup is called. Okay, pinMode is used to configure your Arduino board. If you are interfacing some external peripherals with Arduino, you need to use pinMode function. Clear? Thanks for watching this video. I will be back with another video. Thank you. This is Madhu signing out from Arduino e-course. Good Hafiz.